Rolling down the boulevard in the speedboat Corvette, like a tail on a tornado ring to promise soaked in sweat. One hand on the glass pipe, the other on the wheel. Devil riding shotgun, singing, boy, let's make a deal.
This is Groundless, a Justified podcast. This is a podcast where we watch every episode of Justified and then come on here and talk about it. I'm Chris. That man is Randy.
I'm not following you.
Are you saying that because you're not following me, or are you repeating the same bullshit about not following me? It's the modern who's on first. I love it.
They did that a couple times in this episode.
Yes, they did. But on the other hand, we are actually here in advance of recording that episode. We're here to talk about Justified City Primeval for a few minutes because we've gotten to a little bit of a critical mass here. The show comes out in 3 weeks, and we've got a full trailer and 4 teaser trailers to look at related to the show. So if you haven't seen those yet, get on YouTube, check it out. Just do a search for FX Networks Justified City Primeval. There's a playlist of all of the available teasers and trailers, and we'll be going through them in order here. And I have the audio for those trailers queued up to go, and then I have some notes, and we can talk a little bit about what we're seeing as the videos play. But I'm trying something new with my podcast deck here, so hopefully this works. I haven't tried the pause and restart trick before. I've only ever tried the, when you push the button and then push it again, it cancels it, and then you push it a third time and it starts over again. So that'll be interesting. But I figure the first thing we'll do is we'll get into the full trailer. So I'm going to play a few seconds of that, and I'll pause it, and we'll talk a little bit about what's happened. So.
Now just listen to me. I'm Deputy U.S. Marshal Raylan Givens, and I'm offering salvation. Talk to me. Come on, face to face.
I am not opening this door.
Then, as they say in the Bible, you're screwed.
Remember.
All right, so we open up with it's some shots of Detroit. You got to let us know. The Ambassador Bridge, I think, was the first thing we see, and a bunch of stuff telling us that we're in Detroit. There's more of that to come that we'll talk about here in a second. But Raylan is with a tactical team in a house, and there's a standoff telling the perp he's screwed. And so a couple things that I noted here. First, we've got the new hat, and we talked a little bit about the new hat, but we get a good shot of it here. It's Stetson, but on the band, instead of just being a plain band like his old Stetson was, it's got studs kind of all the way around it. And I don't know how I feel about the hat. I think it's a little too ostentatious for Raylan. I don't know. What do you think?
The hat is, especially compared to the episode that we watched. It's a subtle difference to me. I didn't really notice it, but I mean, the color's sort of there and everything else, but I really think what the big thing is how much older Raylan looks.
Oh, I know. Just the silver daddy Raylan.
Yeah.
He's definitely looking older and thin. He's very slender, I would say, even more so than in Justified. He's definitely lost a little bit of weight, I would say.
Yeah.
In the face especially. But good on Tim Oliphant for not succumbing to the vanity, right? The hair dye and the Botox and all that stuff. He looks great, and he looks like he's aging gracefully. So,
how old is he now? 60 something?
I think he's in his 50s. I don't think he's that much older than us. Because he was pretty young in the 90s, I would say. In the 90s, he was in his 20s, so he's probably in his 50s, I think.
6 feet tall. Okay. 1968. So
68. So yeah, he's he'll be turning 60 in 6 years or 5 years. So he's 55.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
good on him.
yeah, absolutely. And then I also wondered like what happened to the black hat he was wearing in Miami after Justified ended. What happened with that? Why is that not the hat he's wearing in this episode? Or in this series. So I wonder if we'll get a little story about the hat, where it came from. You know, we got in the first episode of Justified, Art comments on Raylan's hat, and he says, "That's not a new hat, though." And everyone else says, "Nope, this is old," is what he says. So I wonder if we'll get a little commentary on the hat. Anything else from that opening sort of segment?
Nah.
No. All right, let's move on.
Marshal, welcome to Detroit.
Detective, meet Raylan Givens.
What's up, Slim? This ought to be good.
Got a task force with the Detroit PD.
You've been special requested.
I promised my kid we got a whole road trip planned back to Miami.
Wasn't a question.
So we get a couple of very quick scenes. The first is with the locals, I think, right? The big guy on the couch is Victor Williams. He plays Wendell Robinson, who's one of the local Detroit cops. I'm not sure who the other guy is, but I will say this. What I immediately thought when they showed him was I was like, oh, they were going for Michael K. Williams here, but he's, deceased, so they couldn't use him. So they got a substitute. It's like a knockoff Michael K. Williams as the, I don't know if he's like a chief detective or what. And then we get another scene where Raylan's told there's a task force with the locals, and that guy, I believe, I'm guessing here, so I believe that guy is a chief deputy, because the office is different. It's not the locals. It looks like a marshal's office. It's got a lot of glass and stuff like that. And Raylan, it seems like that guy is Raylan's boss. He's telling him, "Hey, you've been special requested for this detail with the Detroit PD, and your road trip with Willa is going to have to wait." And so I was left wondering after watching that, what did Raylan get transferred to Detroit at some point? Is he now in the marshal's office in Detroit? Is that where his job is? Because it'd be weird for him to be taking a road trip to Miami with Willa if that's where they lived, right?
Yeah. I don't know. The thing that came in my mind was like, it was almost like a reverse Beverly Hills Cop,
Sure.
Because,
yep.
Eddie Murphy or Axel Foley is like, oh,
yeah,
the Detroit cop.
He's the one black guy in Beverly Hills, and Raylan's like the one white guy in Detroit. No, you're absolutely right. That's a great analogy. I like it.
I also thought that because the whole scene with Eddie Murphy that's in that Detroit, that same like the Detroit precinct or wherever it is, it had that same vibe too, right? Like the wood, and I don't know, it's like funny to me.
Looking a little bit older, not quite as nice. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Yeah. I love that movie. He didn't chew your whole ass. You got some of it left there. Oh, it's so great.
That has to be the origin also of the you leave like your badge and you're gone.
You got 24 hours.
That's 24
hours. They're making another one.
Yeah, I think we talked about that. When was it? Is it coming out like the next year?
I don't know if it's already down, if they've got the film already, if it's already shot, or if they were in pre-production when I read about it. I don't remember. So if they're in pre-production, they're going to be waiting a while because we still got a writer's strike going on.
Oh, that's right.
We're not in the guild, so we still write the podcast. So
damn it,
give us a card. I'll go on strike.
Well, it's not the Writers Guild that we're against. We're against the what studios?
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, I said, give me a card. I'll go on strike. Absolutely. Pay the people, right? The studios, man, those greedy billionaire bastards. Speaking of billionaires, greedy billionaire bastards, there's some fish food.
That's right.
The only thing I could think of is, there's that old joke, and as a lawyer, I love a good lawyer joke. What do you call, a busload of lawyers at the bottom of the ocean? A good start is the punchline to that. I thought, what do you call a tin can full of billionaires on the bottom of the ocean? It's a good start. Yeah. So. All right. So yeah, so we get the locals, we get Raylan, and now we're gonna get to meet a new character.
This guy left a trail of shit from Oklahoma to Detroit.
If you ain't got any cash, we got ourselves a problem. Mansell shows up, bad shit is in the air.
All right, so that's Clement Mansell, a.k.a. the Oklahoma Wild Man. He drives a hot rod. He's walking through a casino. He's a cool guy, and he likes to shoot people. And we see a shot of him robbing and murdering someone, potentially. Again, there's a lot of little trailer tricks that are going on in here. And if you watch it, like I watched it like 50 times or whatever to kind of analyze every element of it. You can kind of see some of the tricks, and you can definitely see them as you start to paste them together with the teasers that we see later, because there's one scene in particular where Wendell Robinson, the cop in Detroit, is on the couch making a comment to Raylan, and Raylan says, "Oh, this is going to be good." And then in one of the teasers, instead of Wendell Robinson on the couch, it's Clement Mansell on the couch. It's the same couch. They just digitally replaced Wendell Robinson with Clement Mansell, and Clement Mansell's making the Travis Tritt joke that he makes to Raylan. And I was like, wait a minute, that's the exact same scene, and Raylan's reaction is the exact same thing. I'm like, there's some shenanigans going on here with the way that they're cutting these trailers together.
It's a misdirection.
Total misdirection.
Yeah.
And I think there's an audio cut trick here with the gunshot. We see a dead deer fall off the back of a car at some point too. And then we get to meet Sweetie. And Sweetie is played by Vondi Curtis Hall. He was in ER, The Sopranos, but probably would recognize him as the police captain in Romeo plus Juliet, the Baz Luhrmann movie. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He's a bartender in the book, and he's sort of kind of an ally of Mansell. And what we know from the books, or from the book, is that Mansell's allies aren't really allies. They're reluctant or forced alliances because these people are terrified of him. It's not that they're his friends or his, buddies. It's not Devil and Boyd. It's not that sort of relationship. It's, this guy is a lunatic, and if I don't do what he tells me to do, he is going to murder me in a really ugly way.
So they're prisoners or hostages.
Essentially, they're hostages, but they're non-cooperative hostages. I would say, both with Mansell and with the cops, because Raylan is really putting the pressure on the next character we're going to meet, Carolyn Wilder, and that's coming up right here.
Any information on this dude could help us.
Clement Mansell is my client.
He's a killer, and he enjoys it.
Yeah, so she's Mansell's attorney. She's Carolyn Wilder. She's played by Anjanae Ellis Taylor from Lovecraft Country, is probably where you'd recognize her from. She was also in The Help and in True Blood, which, as we know, is a big pool that Justified casting directors pull from. A lot of True Blood actors have been in Justified, and now she's the next one in that long line.
She's if you're playing 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yes, exactly.
True Blood, or what's the other one?
Speed.
Speed, yeah.
And the Lethal Weapon show on Fox, but that was after Justified. So, but she's another reluctant ally, but she's also an attorney, so she has a weird sort of obligation. She has a duty of loyalty to her client. She's got confidentiality, attorney-client privilege. She's not really able to help the cops, no matter sort of how bad it gets, until there's a overt threat to her life, and then she can help. But only if she's afraid. Only if she believes that he's not going to then murder her also. So, but yeah. So we'll keep going here.
You do your job, and I'll do mine.
Hey, there he is.
Oh, you supposed to be in that hat. Travis Tritt. You did a great job. She's very sweet. Sweetheart, why don't you head upstairs? I see you near my daughter again.
I'll kill you.
Not if I see you first.
So we get a lot here, right? There's a Mansell